I remember the exact moment I decided to ask my boss for a raise. It was a chilly Wednesday evening, and I was still at the office long after everyone else had left. The silence was only broken by the faint hum of the air conditioner and the soft clicking of my keyboard. I was exhausted. For months, I had been putting in extra hours, covering for co-workers, and tackling projects no one else wanted to touch. Yet, despite all my hard work, my paycheck remained the same. The thought gnawed at me, wasn't I worth more than this? My boss, Mr. Harrison, was a man who commanded respect without even trying. He was sharp, always impeccably dressed, and his deep voice carried an authority that made people stop and listen. But there was also a side to him that was kind and encouraging, which only made my feelings more complicated. Because, truth be told, I had a secret crush on him. It started innocently enough. I admired his work ethic, the way he led the team, and how he always seemed to know the right thing to say. But then I began noticing little things, the way his smile made my heart race, the way he'd hold the door for me, or how his eyes would light up when I shared an idea in meetings. For weeks, I tried to push those feelings aside. He was my boss, and I didn't want to jeopardize my career. But that evening, as I sat at my desk, the weight of everything I had been holding back hit me all at once. I wasn't just tired of feeling undervalued, I was tired of holding back in general. Taking a deep breath, I decided that tomorrow would be the day I'd finally ask for a raise. I rehearsed my words in my head over and over. Mr. Harrison, I've taken on more responsibilities and consistently delivered excellent results. I believe it's time we discuss a raise. As I packed up my things, I heard footsteps. I looked up to see Mr. Harrison standing in the doorway, holding a folder. His tie was slightly loosened, and he looked as tired as I felt. "You're still here?" he asked, his voice warm but surprised. "Yes," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. "Just finishing up a few reports." He walked into the room, setting the folder on my desk. "I've noticed how hard you've been working lately. You've really gone above and beyond." His words made my heart skip a beat. "Thank you," I said softly. For a moment, we stood in silence. I could feel my courage slipping away, but then I reminded myself why I had stayed late so many nights. I deserved this. "Mr. Harrison," I said, my voice trembling slightly, "could we talk tomorrow? There's something important I'd like to discuss." He tilted his head, studying me with those piercing eyes. "Of course. Come by my office in the morning." As he turned to leave, he paused and added, "And don't be afraid to speak your mind. You've earned that right." His words stayed with me long after he left. That night, as I lay in bed, I felt a mixture of excitement and nerves. Tomorrow would be the day I not only asked for a raise but also proved to myself that I was worth more than I had allowed myself to believe. The next day, I dressed in my best outfit, a crisp white blouse and a black pencil skirt that gave me confidence. I styled my hair neatly and kept my makeup subtle but polished. I wanted to make an impression, not just with my appearance, but with my determination. As I walked into his office, my heart was pounding. I knocked gently on the door, and he looked up from his desk. "Come in," he said, gesturing to the chair across from him. I took a deep breath and stepped inside, closing the door behind me. He motioned for me to sit, and I did, folding my hands on my lap to steady them. "So, Julia," he began, leaning back in his chair. "You wanted to talk about a raise?" "Yes," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. "I've been taking on more responsibilities, and my work has consistently exceeded expectations. I believe my contributions to the team warrant a discussion about a salary adjustment." He raised an eyebrow, a slight smile playing on his lips. "How badly do you want this raise?" I hesitated, unsure of what he meant. "I believe I've earned it," I said firmly. He leaned forward, resting his elbows on his desk. "You're an ambitious woman, Julia. That's one of the things I admire about you." His words made me pause, but I quickly reminded myself of why I was there. "Thank you. I take pride in my work, and I'm committed to contributing to the company's success." He nodded slowly, as if considering my words. "Ambition is important," he said. "But sometimes, it takes more than just hard work to get ahead." I frowned slightly, unsure of where he was going with this. I believe hard work and results should speak for themselves, sir. He shifted in his seat, leaning slightly forward, and looked at me with an intense gaze. I'll process your raise within 2 days, but only if you're willing, he said, his voice calm yet filled with an underlying tension. However, if you're open to doing something extra, I could offer you a double raise, if you're willing to earn it. He paused for a moment, allowing his words to hang in the air. The offer seemed both tempting and risky, and the weight of what he was suggesting became clearer with each passing second. He paused for a moment, studying my reaction, before speaking again. His voice was soft but deliberate, as though he had been holding this back for some time. I have to be honest with you, Julia, he began, his eyes lingering on me with an intensity that made me feel both uneasy and intrigued. I've developed a crush on you. It's something that's been growing for a while now, and I can't ignore it any longer. He shifted in his chair, running a hand through his hair as he continued. I don't know how to say this, but I feel like there's something I need from you, something personal. Something in the office, just between us. It's not about work, it's about me, about my ego. I've always been in control of things, but right now, there's a part of me that wants more, something that will make me feel powerful, validated. And I think you could help me with that. His words hung in the air, thick with meaning. I felt a strange mixture of confusion, curiosity, and even a little fear. What did he mean? What was he asking for? It was all so unexpected, and yet, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being drawn into something I couldn't easily escape from. I was silent for a moment, absorbing his words. I had never imagined that this kind of conversation would happen, especially with someone I admired so much professionally. But there it was, laid bare in front of me. I, too, had admired him from afar. I had always been drawn to his confidence, his leadership, and the way he commanded the room. I had secretly wondered if he ever felt the same way about me. And now, here we were, both of us standing on the edge of something neither of us had ever said out loud before. It felt like a big secret hanging in the air between us. I was single, with no one holding me back or telling me what to do. There was nothing stopping me from making my own choices. As I looked at him, my mind raced. He had made his feelings clear, he liked me, maybe even more than I realized. And, in a way, I had shown him how I felt too. We both knew there was something there, something that neither of us had ever really talked about before. The connection between us was undeniable, and I couldn't help but feel nervous and excited at the same time. The idea of taking a step into the unknown, something risky and different, made my heart beat faster. It felt like it could change everything. But what if it wasn't just a bad idea? What if it could be something good, something that I could control? The thought of the double raise, plus the chance to explore something more with him, tempted me. But it wasn't just about the raise, it was about what was happening between us. I didn't want to regret it later, but I also didn't want to miss the chance to take a leap. I stood there, wondering if I could really do it. Could I take that step and give in to what he was asking, even though I knew it could change everything? Would I be able to walk away later without looking back? Would this risk be worth it, or would it turn into something I couldn't undo? My heart was telling me one thing, but my mind was filled with questions. Still, in that moment, I knew this was a decision I had to make, and it felt like it could be the start of something completely new. I didn't speak right away. My heart raced, my thoughts swirling like a storm inside my head. I tried to focus, but everything felt so confusing. The promise of the double raise lingered in my mind, tempting me with the idea of financial security. But it wasn't just that, it was him. The attraction I felt toward him, the way he made me feel noticed, important, even powerful in that moment. It all mixed together, making it hard to think straight. What was the harm, really? I had to admit to myself that there was something about this situation that felt exciting, even if it was a little scary. Maybe I could do it, maybe I could take the risk. It seemed like such a big decision, but in that moment, it felt like it was the only one that mattered. Would I regret it later? Could I walk away from it without things getting complicated? My thoughts bounced between hesitation and curiosity, but one thing was clear: I was standing at a crossroads, and I wasn't sure which path to take. I thought about it for a moment, and after what felt like forever, I finally decided to say yes. My heart was pounding in my chest, and I wasn't sure if I was doing the right thing, but I just couldn't stop myself. It was like something inside me had made the decision, and there was no turning back. He looked at me with a soft smile and said, "I'm glad you're ready now." His voice was calm, but I could tell that he was just as nervous as I was. He asked me one more time, "Are you sure you're ready for this?" I nodded, though my words got caught in my throat. "Yes, I'm ready." He stepped closer, his presence making the room feel smaller. He gently reached out and guided me toward the chair. I sat down, my hands resting on the arms of the chair, trying to steady myself. The air between us felt thick with tension, but at the same time, there was a sense of calm in his movements. It was like he was taking control of the situation, and I wasn't sure whether I was scared or relieved. As I sat there, I couldn't help but wonder what would happen next. Would I regret this? Would things change forever between us? The questions swirled in my mind, but in that moment, all I could do was look at him, waiting for the next step. He looked at me with a kind smile and asked, "Do you like licking sweets?" His voice was gentle and respectful. I was curious and smiled back at him. "Yes, I do," I answered eagerly, excited to taste something sweet. He nodded and, with a twinkle in his eyes, reached into his pocket. He pulled out a shiny, colorful wrapper and carefully unwrapped it. The sweet inside was sparkling in the light, making my mouth water. "Here you go," he said, handing me the sweet. It looked so delicious that I couldn't wait to taste it. I held the sweet in my hand, feeling the smooth texture and imagining how it would taste. "Thank you," I said, my heart racing with excitement. He smiled even wider, happy that I was so eager to try it. He then said, his eyes twinkling with mischief, "You will explore my iron first before we move to action." His voice was soft, almost like a secret whisper shared only between the two of us. He leaned in a bit closer, his breath warming my cheek as he spoke, making the moment feel even more special. It was like he was inviting me to play a unique game, one where we would start with something fun and gentle before diving into the real adventure. His words lingered in the air, teasing with a promise of something playful and thrilling, as if setting the stage for a captivating dance of anticipation. A mix of excitement and nervousness stirred within me, knowing that this secret game we were about to embark on would be unlike anything we had experienced before. After a little while, he carefully took his iron away. It was hard and warm, like when you've been playing outside and your hands feel all warm. He looked at me and said, "Be careful, it's sensitive now." His voice was kind, but he sounded like he really meant it, like when your mom or dad tells you not to touch something that's hot. He was warning me to be gentle because what we were doing was delicate, like handling a new toy that you don't want to break. His words carried an unspoken understanding, a reminder that what we were doing was delicate, something new and unfamiliar. It felt like holding a treasure, something you know you have to be gentle with, afraid it might slip away if you don't. The air between us felt thick with anticipation, a moment suspended in time, and I couldn't shake the feeling that this moment would change everything. "Explore it," he said, his voice a soft command that hung in the air between us. I leaned in, my heart beating a little faster with the anticipation. I started slowly, my tongue just barely touching the tip of his stick, as if I was tasting the first drop of a sweet candy. I moved even slower, my tongue sliding along the length, feeling the warmth and the slight quiver under my touch. It was like painting with the tip of my tongue, each stroke careful and deliberate, savoring every sensation as I went. His breath hitched slightly, a sign that I was doing something right, making me feel both nervous and proud. After a little while, we finally got started, and everything felt just right. The air seemed to buzz with excitement, and I could tell that both of us were ready for what was to come. As soon as we began, it felt like everything was falling into place. There was a spark in the air, like when you're about to start something fun with your best friend. We couldn't stop smiling, and the more we worked together, the better everything seemed to go. It was as if we were both in the perfect rhythm, and every moment made the experience feel even more exciting. We were enjoying every second, and it felt like the start of something really special. It was like everything was coming together perfectly, and we were both in the zone, focused and happy. When it finally came to an end, I could see the satisfaction on my boss's face. He was smiling, clearly pleased with how things had gone. "Good job," he said, his voice full of approval. He quickly got to work cleaning up, his movements smooth and confident. It was clear that he appreciated the effort, and that made everything feel even more rewarding. As he tidied up, I couldn't help but feel proud, knowing that we had done something great together. He smiled at me and nodded, clearly pleased with everything we had done. "Good job," he said, his voice full of warmth and approval. "You worked hard, and because of that, you'll be getting your raise." I felt a rush of pride and excitement as his words sank in. It was like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders, and all the effort I had put in had finally paid off. His praise meant so much more than just the raise. It was a sign that he truly noticed and valued the work I had done. I couldn't help but smile, knowing that all my hard work had been recognized and rewarded. 2 days later, my boss called me into his office. I walked in, feeling a mix of excitement and curiosity. The office was quiet, and as he motioned for me to sit, I couldn't help but wonder what was coming next. When everything was finally said and done, I found myself facing the biggest surprise of all. He smiled at me and said, "You've earned this." Then he handed me a paper and continued, "You're getting a double raise." For a moment, I couldn't believe my ears. I blinked a few times, as if trying to wake myself up from a dream. The words seemed unreal, but they were true. My eyes widened, and my heart skipped a beat. I had worked so hard, put in so many long hours, and faced countless challenges. Now, all that effort was finally being recognized. It felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders, and a wave of pride washed over me. This wasn't just about the money, it was about being noticed, about knowing that my hard work had truly paid off. As I sat there, trying to process everything, I realized how much this moment meant. My heart raced with excitement, and I could feel a sense of accomplishment that I hadn't expected. I wasn't just proud of the raise, I was proud of the journey that had led me here. Deep down, I knew this was only the beginning of something even bigger. This was the start of a whole new chapter in my life, and I couldn't wait to see where it would take me next. But after a week, something unexpected happened. I missed my period. A wave of worry swept over me. I wasn't sure what to think or how to feel. My mind raced with questions, and I couldn't help but feel uneasy. The only person I had been seeing during those weeks was my boss, and it made me wonder if something I hadn't planned for had happened. I tried to push the thoughts away, telling myself it was probably nothing, but deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling of uncertainty. Every day felt heavier as the worry lingered. I kept telling myself to stay calm, but the more time passed, the more my thoughts swirled in circles. I found it hard to focus on anything else, and the weight of it all seemed to grow. It was as if my mind was caught in a loop, unable to break free from the worry and what ifs. After a lot of worrying and sleepless nights, I decided it was time to take control of the situation. I made an appointment to see a doctor and get some tests done. I was nervous, unsure of what the results would be, but I knew I had to know the truth. When the doctor finally gave me the news, I felt my world tilt. I was pregnant. A wave of shock and confusion washed over me. I hadn't expected this at all, but deep down, I knew there was only one person who could be the father, my boss. The thought made my heart race, and I couldn't help but feel a mix of fear and uncertainty. I couldn't ignore the reality of the situation any longer. I knew I had to talk to him, to face whatever was coming next. So, I gathered all the courage I could and made my way to his office, my mind racing with questions about what would happen next. Would he understand? What would he say? I wasn't sure, but I knew I had to find out. When I told him the news, he looked completely surprised, his face a mix of shock and disbelief. He was silent for a moment, clearly trying to process what I had just said. Finally, he spoke, his voice low and filled with uncertainty. "How old are you?" he asked. "I'm 26, I replied, trying to steady my breath. He looked at me thoughtfully before saying, "I'm 33. The age gap hung in the air between us, adding to the tension of the moment. He paused again, his expression shifting as if he was grappling with something inside. Then, with a hint of vulnerability, he said, "The reason this happened, it's because I've had a crush on you for a while now." His words left me speechless for a second. It felt like everything had changed in that one instant. He then looked me in the eyes, searching for something. "Do you like me?" he asked, his voice soft but earnest. I could feel my heart racing, but I knew my answer. Yes, I said quietly, not sure if I was ready for the full weight of what I was admitting. His eyes softened when he heard me, and then he said something that made my heart skip a beat. I truly like you too, he confessed. I couldn't control myself. Can we be in a relationship? The words hung in the air, and for a moment, everything seemed to stand still. I wasn't sure what to say next, but I knew things were about to change forever. For weeks had passed, and my pregnancy kept growing. But somehow, no one at work knew about it. I kept it hidden, trying my best to stay focused and carry on like everything was normal. It wasn't easy, and there were moments when I felt overwhelmed by the secret I was carrying. But I told myself I could handle it, that I had to be strong. Then, one day, everything changed. I was in the middle of a normal day at work when, out of nowhere, my boss, my now partner, walked into the office, looking calm but determined. The whole room seemed to freeze as he made his way to the front. He stopped in front of me, his gaze locking with mine. My heart began to race, not knowing what was about to happen. Then, with a smile that was both nervous and confident, he dropped to one knee. The office fell completely silent, and I felt my breath catch in my throat. I know this may be a surprise, he said, his voice steady yet full of emotion, but I want to ask you something. Will you marry me? The words felt like a dream, and for a moment, I couldn't believe what was happening. The room erupted in gasps and whispers, but all I could focus on was him and what he had just said. I nodded, feeling my heart race with joy and a little bit of nervousness. Yes, I whispered, almost too stunned to say anything more. The room was filled with excitement as the whole office cheered and clapped. It felt like everything was happening so fast, and I couldn't believe what was going on. All I could think about was how much my life had changed in such a short time. Just a few months ago, I never would have imagined something like this happening to me. That day felt like the start of something magical. It was as if everything was falling into place, one piece at a time. After all the cheering died down, we made our plans to get married. We had a beautiful wedding, surrounded by our friends and family. Everyone was so happy for us, and it was the happiest day of my life. We celebrated with laughter, music, and love, knowing this was just the beginning of our new life together. It was a fresh start, a new chapter that I could never have dreamed would come true, but now, here it was, unfolding before me.